Um, and often you'll hear me refer to ratios as just fractions. And it looks to me, I've been looking over this homework, and it looks to me like um, you're still early enough in ratios to not have to deal with them as fractions. I'm just kind of telling you that because that's the direction we're going to be moving them in later on. You're going to treat them like fractions. But for now, you basically put this colon, I think that's a colon mark in between the double dots. And so all you do is basically, this is saying container X to container Y. So it looks to me like the volume of container X is 4 liters, and the volume of container Y is, here, this is container X, and the volume of container Y is 6 liters. It's a little hard to see that thing. Yeah. So, if you want to tell me what the ratio of container X is to container Y, then all you would do is just do 4 to 6. And with ratios, you don't include the units. It's just, it's just the numbers, 4 to 6. Now, you have to be careful, because if they ask you for what is the ratio of container Y to container X, then you would simply put 6 to 4. It reflects which one the correct order they're asking you in. And I think that a lot of people have trouble with that. Let's do the next part, question 8. The volume of the solid A versus the solid B. So I want to do the volume A. So the volume of A is 3 cubic units. And the volume of B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 3 to 8. That's it. Let's see. They want me to tell them the weight of the package C to the weight of package D. So that would be 5 to 7. Yep. 5 pounds to 7. But again, you don't put in any units, so it's just 5 to 7. That's the ratio between those two. Now, when translating it, and this isn't what you have to do for this particular lesson, but I suspect that this is where they're going with it, is when translating that to a fraction, it's simply 5 over 7. And a lot of times we're going to be using ratios and thinking of them very similar to the same properties of fractions. So I just want you to get used to that kind of stuff. All right. The units, oh, I see. The ratio of buckets to the number of shovels is 3 to 2, because there's 3 groups of buckets for every 2 groups of shovels. 3 to 2. But to be honest with you, I would actually rather think of it like this. Buckets to shovels. If you were to ask me, what is the ratio of the buckets to shovels, I would say 9 to 6, right? And just like a fraction, in fact, I just told you, you can write that as a fraction, 9 over 6. If you gave me 9 over 6 as an answer, I would ask you to reduce that fraction. So you know how to reduce. You divide both the top and bottom by the biggest number you can that nicely goes into both the top and bottom. In this case, it's 3. So this thing reduces to 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. That's why they're saying that this is the ratio, actual ratio is 3 to 2. So ratios can be reduced. So I actually really like problem number 4, because it's kind of showing, it's kind of beginning to show you why I said to think of them like fractions. The ratios of P to Q, alright, there's 3 things in P. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 things in Q. 3 to 7. This would be P to Q. But here's the thing is, you can't reduce that. You can't, if it, you can't reduce the fraction 3 over 7. So at that point you're done. So again, with these things, you need to make sure you ask yourself, can you reduce these equations? All right, let's see. What is the ratio of the length to the width? All right, so I'm assuming that the length they're talking about is the horizontal, and the width would be the vertical. Although they didn't specify, so they really should say the length versus the height or whatever. But the length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is length to width. So for question number 6, the length is 5 to 4. And if I thought of the fraction 5/4, I wouldn't be able to reduce this, so this would be my answer. Alright, let's try this one. Ricardo can mix 3 paint cans and 1 white can. What is the ratio of the amounts of red paint and the amount of white paint? So that would be 3 to 1. The ratio of a white paint can to the amount of red paint. So remember, the ratio reflects the order in which they asked you. What is the ratio of red to white? That would be 3 to 1. What is the ratio of white to red? Well, there's 1 white and 3 red. So they're asking for the white first, so you put 1 to 3. So the answer to this question number 1 over here in this problem over here is 1 to 3. And that would be white to red, as opposed to red to white, which would be 3 to 1. It's not the same thing, so be careful with that. The ratio of number of jars to the number of jelly is 3 to 2. This is actually exactly it's very similar to the previous problem I solved where I had to reduce that fraction with the buckets and pails. But yeah, it's 3 to 2 because there's 3 boxes of this to every 2 boxes of this. But the ratio of jelly to jam is, they're asking for the jelly first, and I think that says jelly, so that's 2 to versus 3. So jelly to jam is 2 to 3. And then the ratio of the number of packets, I can't even see that. Sorry, excuse me 1 second. Why can't I? Oh, it's still thinking. Alright, let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, so this is 10 packets of chocolate. So for number 3, this is chocolate to strawberry. So that would be 10 to, and then I'm guessing there's 5 in each, and then so the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 to 25. 10 to 25 for chocolate to strawberry, but if you were to think of that like a fraction, 10 over 25, you could reduce that to being 2 over 5. So the actual ratio that you should write down is 2 to 5. Now if they're asking for it to in reverse, what is strawberry to the number of chocolate, that would simply be 5 to 2. Because there's 5, for every 5 packets of strawberry, there are 2 packets of cocoa. Alright, that's finding the ratio. Okay. David and John visited an art supply store. David bought 3 bottles of blue ink and 2 bottles of red ink. The ratio is 3 to 2. Alright, that's pretty straightforward. John bought 5 blue pens to 2 red pads, so that would be 5 to 2. Okay, the ratio is 5 to 2. Good. Oh, John has 8 cents and Peter has 12 cents. Okay. The ratio of John and Peter is 8 to 12. Oh, I suspect that this is kind of what they're doing, is they're saying 8 to 12, but if you were to think of that as a fraction of 8 over 12, you could reduce that to being 4 over 6. And so the ratio becomes 4 over 6. But I hate to say it, they didn't do it right the first time. You could reduce 8 over 12 even more, you could divide, instead of dividing both the top and bottom by 2, which would give me 4 over 6, I'm going to divide both the top and bottom by 4, which gives me 8 divided by 4, which is 2 over 3. That's the most reduced. So the actual ratio is 2 to 3. So all of these ratios are the same. They're called equivalent ratios. They are equal to each other. But the thing is, the simplest form of the ratio is the smallest one, is the most reduced part of that fraction. So the correct answer, even though technically 8 to 12 is the same as 4 to 6, which is the same as 2 to 3, the most correct answer would be 2 to 3. Is that the end? I think that might be the end. Let me see if I can go into the next one. Oh, it's not letting me do the internet. 1 second. Somehow the internet crashed. Did your internet crash? Alright, I'm trying to fix mine. Right, let's try this now. Sorry, 1 second. My computer is being slow. Right here, last page. Alright. Write the ratio in simplest form. Okay. This one, again, you can kind of think of it as a fraction. 4 to 10 would be, the equivalent fraction would be 4 over 10. I could reduce that fraction to being 2 over 5. So the simplest form would be 2 to 5. Alright, let's try this one. 12 to 18, so this would be part B, 1B. 12 to 18, I can think of that as 12 over 18, which, reducing that, I can divide both the top and bottom. Let's see, I can divide both the top and bottom by 2, and I'll get 6 over 9. Is that right? Yeah, that is. But, actually, instead of dividing both the top and bottom by 2, I can divide both the top and bottom by 6. And that would give me 2 over 3. Because 12 divided by 6 is 2, 18 divided by 6 is 3, so really this ratio is 2 to 3. Alright. It looks like they gave you the answers over here, so I'm going to let you guys be able to figure that out. I think maybe I'll do 2D. I want to find the ratio, the equivalent ratio of 21 to 14. I think of that as a fraction of 21 over 14. I can reduce that by 7. So I'm dividing 21 by 7. That would be 3 over 2. So really this ratio is equivalent to 3 to 2. Alright. There are 15 ducks and 12 chickens in a farm. What is the ratio of ducks to chickens? So that would be 15 to 12. Reducing that, though, 15 to 12, I can think of that as 15 over 12. Reducing that, I can divide both the top and bottom by 3. That gives me 5 over 4. So really what the simplest form of the ratio is 5 to 4. So even though this is technically the ratio, this is the better answer because it's the smallest one. Alright, and that should be able to take care of you for all of the pages you sent me at least. Okay, I love you guys.